So this is the story of the 11. And it was really the first year that I kind of, pushed myself to really get. It was my first real target buck that I've ever hunted, and he sure taught me a lot. Everything from food plot management to scouting to trail cameras, everything like that. It was my first real year that I actually dabbled into all that kind of stuff. Leading into the pre-rut, we started getting a lot more pictures of this deer. It gave us a lot of hope that maybe we could pattern him, maybe he'd stick around. So as soon as we started getting cold fronts, started getting closer to November, I was still in college, so every single weekend I was home. I'd occasionally miss my classes on Thursday afternoon, so I could come home Thursday morning, hunt Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then usually I'd either go back to college Sunday night or Monday morning. In 2022, that was probably the most I've ever sat, hourly wise, in a deer stand. So the first encounter was when a big windstorm that came through, and it sprinkled a little bit, but it was nothing crazy. But the wind was, I think it was like 35-mile-an-hour winds. And so I went out at like 1 o'clock, got set up in the tree, and after about like an hour, I was like, there's no way I'm sitting in this tree. And so I ended up getting out of the tree. I went down and we planted some switchgrass or plot screen. So I went in and just tucked in that stuff, because there's no way that I would have ever made an ethical shot with how fast the wind was blowing and the tree moving like that. It would have been just so difficult. But hopped in that plot screen, and it wasn't even half an hour later, the 11, he came out and was making a scrape. He made that scrape, came straight across. The closest he came was 63 yards, and there was no way I could make a shot on him. So he came pretty much right in front of me. I ended up getting my wind when he intersected me, but he didn't get too scared because he couldn't see me, but just walked straight east and then cut in the woods. So this brings us to the second encounter. Second encounter I never got video of, and it was getting close to, I think it was like almost 9:30, and it was like 9:15, text each other, we're like, all right, we'll get on 9:30, no biggie. So we got 15 minutes left. I was like, all right, I gotta do something, because I think we only seen like 2 little nubbies that morning, and that was it. I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna grunt and see if anything close is by. And this is like right before the rest starts. Hit the grunt call, and not even 10 seconds later, I can hear it crash into my left. So I look over, and I knew it was him, the 11, because as soon as I seen horns, I was like, well, it has to be him, So as soon as I seen that, turned around the other way, turned on my camera, or just my phone, I guess, but turned it on, look back, and it's just silent. And the only way he can exit is if he comes down and takes the crick. And I can see majority of that, so I almost wonder, because as soon as I turned back, I completely lost sight of him. Had no idea where he went. Obviously didn't come in the field, otherwise I would have seen him. But completely lost sight of him. He must have skirted right around in the creek line. So then that brings us to my third encounter with him. Actually, me and my buddy Craig, we decided to go hunt together that night, and he was gonna sit in my brother's gun stand. So, we're walking out, and it's 1 o'clock, and when we're walking out, it was through a bean field. So we're walking out, straight out, and then we just get to the plot screen. And I usually like to enter right in the middle of it, just to stay away from the wood line, but enter right in the middle of it, and as soon as we're getting up to the little opening, there's a patch in it that didn't really grow at all, just because it doesn't get a lot of sun, because there's a rock pile right there with some trees growing over. So we get to that opening, and buddy, he goes, buck, buck, buck. So I put my head up and hear the 11 counts just jaunting right across, right behind the doe. So we're like freaking out, don't know what to do. If we were a half an hour earlier, so it would have been in the stand, because he walked right where my stand is. So yeah, he ended up skirting right across in front of us and then doing the same exact thing that he did the day before. Went straight east, right in front of my camera. I was like, there's no way this deer's gonna come back out. Like, I know where he went, but I just don't think he's gonna come back. So we're sitting, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm looking behind me to the north, and all of a sudden I look back, and it was like just about to hit sunset, like almost prime time. That perfect time where the kind of sunset, but the sun's still shining. It was beautiful. Also, I look over to my southeast, and he's just standing there at 65 yards. I range find him, buddy range finds him. So he's at 65 for me, he's at like 45 for him. He's right in between us. The sunshine on him, it was like picturesque, perfect. I was like, this is gonna happen. I just knew right then and there, I was like, I'm gonna kill this deer. He ended up walking straight west, so completely horizontal to me, walked straight west, walked right in front of me, and on this night it was a straight north wind, so my wind's blowing right at him. And that's why I'm super anal about scent control, and all my buddies know that. But ended up walking straight in front of me, straight downwind of me, never got a scent of me at all. So there's a couple does out there. You can tell he's just starting to search, getting in the rut. So he's looking around, kind of smelling, starts just walking towards some of the deer, and then he ends up walking right in front of a tree that I got in front of me, right before it hits the field edge. Ends up walking right in front of that tree, walks straight to me. So he walks straight north, right to my stand, walks, takes a little, well, he would have been his right, my left, goes to my left, comes almost under my stand at least 7 yards, but I can't get a shot in there because it's all undergrowth. Comes under, goes in all the understory, can't get a shot. There's a little gap, maybe could have, but I didn't want to risk it. So comes in, ends up turning around, and ends up walking straight away from me, pretty much looking right at Buddy in the gun stand. Ends up looking right at him, walks out 14 yards. And I ended up hitting just right of the spine, and it came through, right through the back, right through just pile drives the heart, but the arrow doesn't exit. And actually, in the video, you can see something fly, like a little fragment or something. Almost looks like an arrow coming right through it, but that actually ended up being my knock that fell off. My luminoc fell off. So as soon as I shot, you just knew, like, it was dead deer. Just the way he ran, pretty much just knew that he was dead. So he ended up running straight in front of me, goes around, enters the woods. I heard him run in the woods, and I'm pretty sure that I heard him crash, but we ended up getting out almost, 10 minutes after. We get out, go check the arrow, and it's just hitting, shooting light. So after that, get out, look at the arrow, or try and find the arrow. There's no arrow to be found, but there's a knock sitting there. So we're like, all right. I pretty much know he's dead, but you always have that doubt. So we ended up going to buddy's house, and he actually ended up shooting his buck the day before that, and he got a real nice one. So went to his house, he had it hanging up in the garage, and we took one of my arrows and kind of positioned it to where maybe my arrow would have entered if it exited, where it would exit, what kind of organs it might hit. So we put it up there, and it wasn't more than an hour and a half later, we're like, all right, we're going in, he's dead. Buddy's dad asked me, he's like, you think it's a dead deer? I was like, I'm pretty sure that I heard him crash. He goes, all right, let's go get him. So go back to the house. We go where the shot was. My dad and buddy's dad find the knock. They're looking over there. I'm looking where I thought that he entered the woods. So I'm looking over there, and then me and buddy are walking through, and there's no blood at all to be found. I think there's a couple little specks, but that was about it. So we're walking through, and ended up finding them 35 yards from the entry of the woods. So we get them all gutted out and bring them back to the house. Showing my girlfriend at the time, showing my family. Just super proud and excited of this deer that I got. It was bigger than I thought he was in person. So, I was just super grateful. This is a deer that I was after all year. I put in countless hours in the stand, put in work in food plots, cameras, just put so much into this deer that, after I shot him and after I put my hands on him, I was pretty much speechless. Like, you even asked them, like, my excitement wasn't there, but I was like, you could just kind of tell that it meant a lot to me. So this is a weekend I'm definitely going to look forward to every single year from here on out, just in hopes of, landing a deer before the gun season. This deer taught me a lot. I'm beyond grateful to have taken him. So yeah, I just want to thank my family, my brother. I want to thank my buddy Craig, his father Eddie, my dad for helping out, and just everyone else that I went to just to get insight on some ideas for food plots or cameras or bow or everything like that. My buddies back at college for coming with to help tune in the bow and go shoot and all that kind of stuff, and just really prepared to make a shot on this deer when it really counted. And yeah, that's the story of the 11.